Well, hello again, everyone. My name is John Arntz, and welcome again to the Business Freedom Formula. I am your host, and our guest today is Ian Mayer. Ian, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Um, Ian, I wanted to ask you a question to start out the whole conversation with you are you working on anything really exciting at the moment in your business?
Oh, um, well, we've had a really good year, this being 2025, and so I'm just sort of working on making it bigger and grander for next year, trying to identify what positions I'm going to need to hire and make it um, a bigger business. Right now, we serve most of LA County and parts of Ventura County, and so I'm hoping for 2026 we can serve southern LA County a little better and maybe even add another person in Ventura. And then on the other side, I'm also working on sort of developing myself as a business speaker. There's a lot of people out there in the real estate world who may, they get a license, they don't really know what they're doing with their license. I'm not a
Mhm.
licensed realtor, I'm a home inspector, but I work with so many licensed agents. I see what agents do, to get. I see what separates the good agents from the bad agents, the successful ones from the unsuccessful ones, and I'm working on some projects on that and general business development because I'm on a lot of Facebook groups with a lot of business people, and I see a lot of, people who are just lost.
Sure.
You're like, I started a business last year and it's going great, but like, what do I do to increase it? And I'm like,
Mhm.
well, try working on that thing you're posting on right now.
Mhm. Oh, I agree with you because I too have seen things and I look at what people post and it's like, okay, I'm not really sure what you're trying to convey here, or I think you needed to word that differently,
Mm.
you know, things like
Well,
that. And
a great example is, someone saying I started, a lawn care business and now it's stuck. And then I look at their profile picture on Facebook and it's them sitting on a front porch drinking a beer. And I'm like, well,
yeah,
no one's going to hire you if that's your public image.
right, right, exactly. And people don't understand that. And if you're in business, people will find your Facebook page. And that's why on my Facebook page, I really don't post anything in my personal page
Mm.
because I don't want to say something that offends the wrong person that could be a customer for me. So I just find it's easier to just not say anything and
Mm.
concentrate on my business. So I don't need it as a platform to express my angst over whatever, but other people do.
Oh yeah, no, I remember a couple weeks ago I saw a guy. I forget what business he was in, but he's like, I can't get any clients, I can't get any customers. And then I went to his Facebook page, and it was all very controversial, sort of borderline conspiracy theory posts. And I'm like, yeah, your problem is not marketing. Your problem is you're putting out an energy that people should not do business with
Sure.
you.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that. They say, "Well, I'm just being real."
Mhm.
Well, and the world that you're trying to sell to is being real as well. They're saying, "We
Yes.
don't want to do business with you."
I used to teach a lot of social media marketing for real estate agents.
Hmm.
And the only real reason I stopped is, after 10 years, the next group of agents didn't really need the training. Um, but yeah, I used to say in my post, like, or my class, like, I don't care who you voted for. I don't care if you're red, blue, purple, yellow, rainbow, upside down, whatever. If you want to do business with me, I'll gladly take your money.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, it's business is very different. I mean, I understand some people don't want to do business with certain individuals or certain groups,
hmm.
and I think they're missing the boat. But that's their decision. But how did you get into this home inspection business?
Um, well, it depends how far back you want to go. It was a slow process over many years. Uh, but I originally moved to LA from San Francisco because I was going to be a drummer in a rock band and I was going to be a famous rock star, like so many people moved to LA to do.
Right.
And the joke was I was going to make it or die trying. And then one day I woke up and realized I don't want to die that badly. Like, it's a tough business, and my talent would only take me so far. And so I realized at some point I needed to do something else. And so I worked a variety of odd jobs, and then I met someone at a party who said, she's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Well, I have a degree in finance.
Hmm.
I'd gotten a degree in finance from Cal State LA." Um, and she's like, "Oh, well, my company's looking for finance people." I'm like, "Oh, okay, what do you do?" And she's like, "Well, we work for a wholesale mortgage company." I'm like, "Oh, what's a wholesale mortgage company?" I have no idea what that is. But she got me an interview, and I found out the guy interviewing me was also a frustrated musician. So we got along really well. So I got in the door there, and I worked there for a number of years, and I switched positions a here and there, and I was working in the back. I had a really good eye for problems, a really good eye for most places got me in trouble because they perceive it as negative. Like, because I'm always the one going, well, see, the problem with that thing is. And so the mortgage company was like, you know what? We kind of like this about you. Come here, come to the back of the room where all the loans are piled up, uh, and loans they'd funded that maybe had problems. That maybe they shouldn't have funded or had some problems. And like your job is to go through all these loans and figure out what the problem is, who caused the problem, and how do we fix it.
Hmm.
And it was just sort of like, it was great. I was like, oh, I can do this. I get to get people in trouble. I get to analyze things and figure out who screwed up, and it was great. So with that job, um, my wife and I were able to buy our first house, which is a complete fixer-upper. It said four walls, foundation. The roof leaked. We would literally get up in the middle of the night and move buckets around the house when it rained because the roof
Hmm.
was so bad. Um, and we would camp out in one room and fix up the next room and then move our camp. And we would just do that around the house until we eventually fixed up the whole house and got a roof put on. And I was like, wow, this is a lot of fun. This is a lot more fun being in a house, working on a house, than just sitting in an office all day looking at pictures of houses and writing reports about them. And we'd had a home inspection, so that was my first sort of introduction to home inspections. And then one day, my realtor buddy of mine said, "Hey, there's this house near me. It's for sale. You may want to check it out." And I was like, I don't really want to move. But then, like a week or two later, I called him, like, you know what? Let me at least see it. I'm curious. So we ended up buying that, moving, and so then I had another home inspection. And I was like, wow, this guy's got a really cool job. And so it was just kind of in the back of my head that, like, this home inspection thing is pretty cool. And it seemed to be in line with my natural skill set of finding abilities. And I loved the real estate market. I loved everything about working at that wholesale mortgage company. But then 2008 came along, the real estate
Yeah.
market fell out. So me and that job parted ways. My mom had passed away a little before that. And then a little bit after that, my wife got pregnant with our first son. And I was just like, I can't start a business. I can't go in this direction. What am I doing? So I thought, well, the smarter thing would be to go back to school, do something else. So I did that and did some other things. And of course, the economy got worse, not better. So I ended up taking a job having nothing to do with real estate or anything and worked there for a while because I'm just trying to support my wife and kids.
Sure. I think we've all been there.
Yeah, I mean, 2009, 2010, the economy is still, pretty much in the toilet. There's jobs were hard to come by. So anyway, I worked at this job for a while, and then there was a second kid along the way, and one day I walked in the office, and they're like, "Oh, we're relocating the whole office to another state." And I was basically uninvited to come along,
Ah,
and so that was a really low point. So I was just walking around, going, "What do I do now?" I'm very removed from anything that's on my resume. Half the companies on my resume are out of business at this point. I haven't worked in the real estate field in a couple of years, which is really where I want to be. And now I don't even have that. And I'm like, and if I go get another job, I'm gonna have to start at the bottom. I'm gonna work my way up. And then what happens if I just get laid off in another 5, 10 years? Because
Right.
this one I've been laid off so many times. And I just took a vow that, like, I'm not gonna get laid off anymore. I'm not gonna be somewhere where someone's gonna have the power to lay me off. I'm gonna start my own business. And I narrowed it down to three things, and home inspections was at the top of the list. And so I discussed them with my wife, and I was still kind of racking my brain, like, which direction do I go in? And she's like, you want to do the home inspection thing, just do that. And it just happened by pure luck and coincidence. Uh, in a couple of weeks, there were classes for home inspections coming up. So I was able to sign up for classes and go right from, the job I was losing into home inspection classes. Started my business because I'd been in bands. I thought I knew marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I can market a band, I can market a business, right? How hard can it be? Well, I was wrong
Sure.
there, but it's very, very different. So I just started the company really just because I needed a job and I didn't want to work for anybody else anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I
That's
was good at it. The first time I got a paid inspection, I was like, oh my God, this is the job I've been searching for my entire life. Like every other job I've ever had, like after 2, 3 years, I quit. I couldn't
yeah.
take it anymore. I had to move on. This one I've been doing for 11 years and I'm still feeling like I'm just getting started.
Now, since I know you're located in California, do you have to be licensed or certified some way to be a home inspection or a home inspector?
You do have to be certified. The state of California does not license home inspectors, um, which is the odd because we're the kings of licensing everything in
Mm-hmm.
California, but we don't license home inspectors. But they do. You should be certified through a third party agency.
Mm-hmm.
So we're members of the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors, INTRNACHI, which is the largest home inspection association in the world. And so me and everyone under me are certified through them.
Okay.
But I always
That's
say, people say, you don't need a license. I'm like, well, you need a driver's license. Look how many bad drivers there are on the freeway.
sure.
You got to get a marriage license. Look at how many people are divorced. So
Right.
licensing is not really all it's mean to be. And in some states that do have licensing, it's a very minimal requirement. Some states have very high requirements.
Mhm. Yeah, and yeah, the thing about licensing too is it just means that you've at least passed a test at the minimum level of understanding your body of knowledge. It doesn't mean that you're good at what you do.
Mhm.
It
Well,
just
I mean, take
means
real
that
estate agents. I
you've
mean,
passed a test that says I know what I'm doing,
like in
theoretically.
California, you have to be a licensed real estate agent. Yet
Hmm.
I teach classes to real estate agents on their own contracts because I know them better than they do because I
Right.
actually read the contracts.
Yeah. And I mean, I know an individual um years ago. I mean, by the time you've taken that real estate exam in California for the third time and finally managed to pass it, but barely, you really have to wonder, does this person understand
Mhm.
that industry well enough to be working in it? Now, maybe they are. Maybe it's one of those things that they will grow as they work, and
Mhm.
or maybe they just don't test well.
Mhm.
In college, when I was at Cal State San Bernardino, I had a professor I took twice. I couldn't do his tests,
Mhm.
but I learned so much in his class, but I could just never do his tests well. So I can kind of understand sometimes you have trouble with taking a test.
Mhm.
But so now,
Yeah.
do you within your organization hire people and train them yourself to become certified inspectors, or do
Uh,
you look for, or do you only hire certified inspectors?
I prefer to hire people who have already had the certification, but
Hmm.
that's not always easy. Sometimes I have good luck and people come to me like, I got certified as a home inspector. Now what? Come work for
Hmm.
me. Sometimes I just find people who have, I think, the skills and the knowledge to do it, and then they can get certified. And then we also have our own internal training process.
Okay.
Because if I'm sending somebody out to do an inspection, under my company name, I want them to do as well as I will.
Sure.
Because I did work quality control at that mortgage company, I became a real stickler for quality control.
Hmm.
And it bugs me with some of my competitors out there who they don't have quality control. They may have a bunch of people on their roster, and some of those guys are good, and some of those guys aren't good. With my company, everyone we send you, they're going to do the same report the same way. So we have a very strict internal training process, as well as having to become certified.
Hmm.
And then we do inspection reviews, and we make sure everybody is getting to a certain point. And then even after that, we still will do periodic reviews of reports just to make sure that people are keeping up.
Hmm. Well, that's good because I mean, it's your business and you're not doing it just as a one-man band. You've built a business to do this. So
Correct.
you want to have a reputation of consistency and and that's the only way you can maintain it is making sure that people are trained to your standard and that you have a process for evaluating
Mhm.
what they're doing and keeping them up to snuff on what the newest requirements are. I mean, that just makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I think you find in a lot of business, just a lot of young businesses, they have this mentality of nobody can do it as well as I can do it.
Right.
And I know I definitely suffered from that at a certain point in my career. Well, I can't possibly train anybody to do this as well as I do it. But then you realize, well, there's a time when I didn't know how to do what I do now.
Right.
So who's to say I couldn't train someone else to do it?
Sure. And they may end up being better at it than you are.
Oh, there are guys on my team who are definitely better at it than I am.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think, that's one of those roadblocks to individuals building a business.
Mhm.
And if you're not, I don't know how you feel about this, Ian, but my feeling is if you're doing something and you're trying to build, and you would say you want to build a business, but you can't, if it's all got to go through you, you really just have a job, you
Yeah, this
know?
is true, and I discovered that the hard way.
Yeah.
Um, and then I later read Michael Gerber's E Myth book.
Yes, a
And
phenomenal book.
the funny thing is, I hated that book when I first read it. I hated it, and I like actually would go online like trying to find any bad reviews of the book, any proof that this guy was nuts. And then one day I finally realized I looked in the mirror and I'm like, no, the problem isn't the book. The problem is it's holding a mirror to my face, and I don't want
Hmm.
to look at it. I
Um,
didn't want to come down to the reality that, like, no, I have just built this very elaborate job for myself.
hmm.
So yes,
Yeah.
that is the truth, and that gets down to my motivation for why I built it was my oldest son's birthday is 4 days after Christmas, and so every year it's like you get a Christmas present, and then you got to turn around and get a birthday present, 4 days later, and we don't like to combine them because that just seems.
Right.
We vowed when he was born we would never combine them because that just seems cheesy.
I have a New Year's Day child.
Okay.
I know exactly what you're going through.
Uh, um, I was in a crawl space under a house, and so I'm all dusty and dirty, and my coveralls and my respirator, and I just stopped, and I'm just like, I don't have any money to buy him a present. His birthday's next week, and what am I doing? What
Hmm.
am I doing wrong? And that's kind of when the realization, like, no, I need to stop being a one-man band. I need to stop trying to do everything because I was doing everything. I was answering the phone, I was booking the calls, I was doing the online marketing, I was doing the networking, and then doing all the work. And that was kind of the realization, like, this is not the life that I wanted for me. It's not the life I wanted for my kids because they're just kind of
Sure.
growing up without me because I'm constantly working. Because if I'm not working, we don't have food on the table.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the realization that, like, oh no, I need to turn this from an elaborate job into a real business.
Sure. Do you have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
I read that actually probably maybe 10 years before I started. No, was it 10 years? Maybe I have read it. I read it a long time ago. I
Well,
remember I was working, and actually that led me to that real estate job
hmm
a little bit because I was working a very dead-end job at a company I really did not like for a boss I really could not stand.
hmm
And one day I was just like, I don't know what it is. I'm not going to work. I called in sick, even though I really wasn't, I was mentally sick that day.
right,
And I just wandered through the mall and I wandered through a bookstore when we still had bookstores.
sure.
And I saw Rich Dad Poor Dad. It was just sitting on the shelf and it said, what rich dads tell their kids versus what poor dads tell their kids. And I'm like, I never grew up with a dad. I've never met my dad. I don't have a dad. So let's kill two birds with one stone.
Sure, there you go.
Let's get the rich dad advice and the poor dad advice because I got neither.
hmm
And that's when I bought the book, and it really changed my mind around like, oh, I don't have to work a dead end job for a dead end boss
hmm
and for a company I don't like. Like, there is more for me. And that's why when I met the lady for the mortgage company, I was like really excited about that job
Well, when I
because I
read the book,
knew it was going to lead me to a better life.
one of the things that stands out in that book to me is there's a scene where Robert and his friend go to his friend's house. And while they're in the house, there's these two people sitting in the living room, and his friend's father is in his office, and he's meeting with these two people that both run his other business, that run his other businesses. And he has this meeting in the morning before he goes to his job.
Mhm.
Okay. Which means he's built businesses that run without him being there.
Right.
And I read that after I read Michael Gerber's book, and I'm thinking, well, yeah, this makes sense. You can't run General Electric as a one man band. You just can't do it. You have to have processes and systems, and you have to be able to delegate authority. And not everybody wants to be that big, but I mean, when you're doing it by yourself, if you wanted to take a week off vacation, was that even in the cards?
No, and that was the realization.
Mm-hmm.
No, I never took more than 2 or 3 days off at a time.
Mm-hmm.
We're in Los Angeles, so maybe we'd run to San Diego, go to Lego World.
Sure.
My youngest kid loved Lego World when he was young, so that was like, okay, we can go to Lego World for 2 days. I'd still be on my phone almost the entire time trying to book
Sure.
jobs. We might go camping for 2 or 3 days. But no, we never went anywhere for a week. And that day that I kind of realized, like, not only do I not have money for my kid's birthday present, but like at that point, my youngest son has never been more than 2 hours from home,
Yeah. Yeah.
or 2 hours from where he was born, which was, San Diego,
Sure.
Legoland. And that's when I was like, this is not what I wanted for my kids. This is not what
Mm-hmm.
I wanted for my own life. Growing up, you know, we did the same vacation every year. We went and saw my grandfather, and granted, it was a pretty nice vacation because my grandfather lived in some nice places, but we never ever did anything else. We never saw any other sites. We never traveled to any other states.
Mm.
Um, and it was just kind of like, oh, well, when I'm the parent, I have kids, like we're gonna travel, we're gonna see things, and then this sort of realization, like, we're not doing that because
No.
we can't.
Yeah.
Take a week off? No.
Yeah.
Um, and then the first time I did take a week off, again was when my kid was he said I want to go to Yellowstone for his birthday. He's like, don't give me anything. It was like a year or two later. And he's like, don't give me anything for my birthday. I want to go to Yellowstone. And we're like, oh, I don't know if that when. When I was a kid, I wanted to go to Yellowstone so badly, and my
Mm-hmm.
mom never took me. And I'm like, well, too bad, kid, you can't go either because I can't take you. And I'm like, wait a minute, I just became my mom. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this is so not what I
Yes.
wanted. And my wife just looked at me and she's like, we're making it happen. And we did. We hired enough people that I was able to go for a week. I think the first time we only did 5 days. They went ahead, and then I flew up to meet them, and then they drove me to an airport and dropped me off, and I flew home, and I went back to work the very next morning. Uh, and then my son was like, "Well, that was fun, but we should go back in the spring, instead of the fall." And we were there, like, okay. And so we worked on it and built the business. And the next time we went for 2 weeks.
There
And
you
this time I
go.
didn't fly ahead. It was just like, no, I'm gone for 2 weeks. We're not going to have cell phone reception in the park, so don't call me. And by the time we got the business built up enough that I came back after that 2 weeks, and I was like, all right, well, I'm back. What's going on? What fires do I need to put out? And everybody's like, oh, you were gone. So yeah, the Michael Gerber book, yeah, it's like, okay, now I've accomplished something.
Yeah, yeah. I would say, Ian, you have, because um, it's funny how many people I talk to who've never heard of it. Ever heard of Michael Gerber's book, never heard of Michael Gerber, and don't
Mm,
understand what he's saying. Yes, it's not, the concept is simple. It's not as easy to execute, but it is doable. I think it's doable for anybody who's willing to let go of the reins a little bit. And if you're not, then it's probably the way it's going to stay, wherever whatever rut you're stuck in at the moment. And however, if you're willing to expand and let go a little bit, then you can actually build a business
mm,
that you can step back from. Because I think sometimes too, when you look at your business, I mean, you could conceivably build your business to the point where maybe 10 years from now, you say, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to sell the business.
mm-hmm.
And yet, because the business runs without you, the person who buys it can see value in it right away because they don't have to know it.
Yeah, there's a remember that old TV show Roseanne, and there was a scene that always stuck with me. Uh, Character Dan, the father, he wanted to buy something, and he goes to the bank, and they're like, "Well, how are you going to pay for it?" And he's like, "Well, I'm going to sell my drywall business." And like, you don't have a business; it's just you. And I was like, "Huh." Now, a million years later, it came back to me, and I'm like, yeah, because sometimes I'll see someone in my industry like, "Oh, I'm selling my home inspection business. Anyone want to buy it?" And I'm like, "Well, what do you have?" Me? I have some software and some tools. I'm like, "Well, I don't need your software. I have my own. I can go to Home Depot or Amazon and buy your tools."
Yeah,
Like, what are you really selling? And a lot of people don't realize, like, they don't have anything to sell if it's not, they said, something with systems and people and processes that's not
right.
reliant on somebody.
Yeah,
There was a guy in LA who was trying to sell his home inspection business for a really long time. And I was like, dude, you don't have a business. You
yeah.
have half a job and not even a very good job because his pricing and models were just way out of whack.
Yeah,
And he's like, oh, but I have all these past customers. Well, past customers don't matter because most people don't need a home inspection that often.
right. You can't value a business
Mm,
where most of your customers are, just one off.
mm,
Like, unless, of course, your customers are, you know, very good real estate, you know, agents who sell a lot of homes, who use you a lot, then maybe you have a business you can sell, but you're basically really selling contacts is all you're really doing. And that doesn't mean that they're gonna buy from you anyway, even if you buy it from me.
right. I mean, we work with a lot of good real estate agents. That does a good chunk of our business, but
Yeah.
at this point, they're not buying me personally. I mean, they used to buy me personally,
Mm-hmm.
for the first 5 years, but now they're not buying me personally. They're buying our systems and they're buying our processes and they're buying the fact that we train all of our guys to do the same job.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of agents we work with who are like, they don't even have a favorite. They're just like, send me whoever because we know if you train them, they're going to do a good job.
Yeah. Yeah. That kind of makes sense. many years ago, I worked for, in my early 20s, I worked for a company that was a tire store chain. Okay. Do you remember 4-day tire stores?
No, I don't, to be honest.
Okay. Well, they were only open 4 days of the week, the four during a certain number of hours. And the company philosophy was we would rather hire somebody who's never changed a tire in their life and train them how to do it the way we wanted it done, rather than hire some guy who used to work at Winston Tire or Mark C. Bloom. I know I'm dating myself because most people don't remember those tire companies. But if they'd worked at a Goodyear store or at a Firestone store or Sears or one of those places, because a lot of them would end up with bad habits because they didn't do it the way we wanted it done. So I would just hire a guy and train him and make sure that he met the company. And then things worked because he knew how to do it. And I didn't have to fight old habits. And I imagine you probably run into the same thing.
Yes, I do. There's been some people who've tried and come along who, they just had bad habits from their old workplace they could not shake.
Yeah.
And so as the problem with my industry is I don't really want experienced people. I do have one guy I hired who was experienced and he's great and he was fantastic and he went along with the changes. But there's been some other people along the way who were like, well, I'm used to doing it this way. And I'm like, well, then that's not really gonna work.
Right. Yeah. I get that. I get that. Yeah. So Ian, if by some chance there's some individual or group that is interested in getting a hold of you that sees this and wants to talk to you about your business or hire your company, how
Mhm.
can they get in touch with you?
Well, the best thing is go to our website. It's imhomeinspections.com. So it's the letter I, the letter M, homeinspections.com. And we're on all social media under imhomeinspections.com. I know you're an adjacent county to me, so the company phone number is 818-298-3405. And those are the best ways to get a hold of us.
Okay.
Call us, text us, email us. We take it all.
Okay. Well, that's terrific. That's terrific. Well, Ian, thank you so much for being a guest. I appreciate it. It's a fascinating. I think we're kindred spirit on the Michael Gerber thing. I mean, we seem to enjoy that same kind of concept and idea.
Yeah, I will just go back a second. What the main thing about Rich Dad Poor Dad, what it did do more than anything was it got my mind interested in more books like it, and that
Mhm.
started a whole path of reading business books.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can spend sometimes way too much time reading business books and not doing. Yeah.
I'm guilty of that at times.
Yeah. I've been down that path a few times myself, but anyway, again, thank you so much, sir.
All
Appreciate your
right.
time and effort, and I wish you the best in your business.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.